I've got on the phone with me Dr. Walt Brown. Dr. Walt Brown is the author of the book In the Beginning. This is a literal textbook, just page after page after page of illustrated sciences. Sold hundreds of thousands of copies of this book, but more than that, Walt Brown has spent about 40 years, maybe more than this, of his life studying the flood account. Dr. Walt Brown, I guess the question on my mind would be, is Noah's flood real?
That is correct. One humorous kind of example. The ancient Chinese language, the classical Chinese language,
right,
is built out of pictographs, little symbols that when you piece them together tells a story.
Sure, like hieroglyphs.
The story gives a word. Well, the Chinese word for boat, and I have a picture in my book, you can use it if you like. The Chinese word for boat is composed of the three symbols: 8, people or mouths, and this classical Chinese language goes back thousands of years.
We can see on our planet 17 very strange features which can now be systematically explained as a result of a cataclysmic global flood whose waters erupted from subterranean chambers with an energy release exceeding the explosion of 10 billion hydrogen bombs. This explanation shows us just how rapidly major mountains formed. It explains the coal and oil deposits, the rapid continental drift, why on the ocean floor there are huge trenches and hundreds of canyons and volcanoes. It explains the formation of the layered strata and most of the fossils, the frozen mammoths, and major land canyons, especially the Grand Canyon. Increasing pressure in the subterranean water stretched the crust just as a balloon stretches when the pressure inside increases. Failure in the crust began with a microscopic crack which grew in both directions at about 3 miles per second. The crack, following the path of least resistance, encircled the globe in about 2 hours. As the crack raced around the Earth, the overlying rock crust opened up like a rip in a tightly stretched cloth. The subterranean water was under extreme pressure because of the weight of the 10 miles of rock pressing down on it. So the water exploded violently out of the rupture. All along this globe-encircling rupture, fountains of water jetted supersonically, almost 20 miles into the atmosphere. The high-pressure fountains eroded the rock on both sides of the crack, producing huge volumes of sediments that settled out of this muddy water all over the Earth. These sediments trapped and buried plants and animals. This erosion widened the rupture. Eventually, the width was so great that the compressed rock beneath the subterranean chamber sprung upward, giving birth to the mid-oceanic ridge that wraps around the Earth like the seam of a baseball, and buckled. The portions of the hydroplate that buckled down formed ocean trenches. Those that buckled upward formed mountains. This is why the major mountain chains are parallel to the oceanic ridges from which they slid.
That's called hydroplate theory that he was just discussing there. And at first, when that was proposed 15, 20 years ago to the scientific geological community, they were very resistant. Well, it disagreed with the models that they had already given a thumbs up. But it is true. It does appear to be true that there have been discovery after discovery, as fate and coincidence would have it, that might tend to favor Dr. Brown's hydroplate.
Having served as director of one of the United States Defense Department's major research and development laboratories, Dr. Walter Brown comes with an impressive list of credentials.
This is the question that stops most scientific investigators dead in their tracks. Yet the hydroplate theory makes the answer obvious. As the hydroplates crashed, they thickened and rose out of the water, forcing the floodwaters over the continents to recede. Simultaneously, upward surging subterranean water was choked off. As the floodwater drained off the continents, every continental basin was left brimful of water, producing many post-flood lakes.
Scientists are also scratching their heads over another recent discovery. On the Kola Peninsula in northern Russia, they have created the world's deepest hole, extending to a depth of 7.5 miles. At this depth, what they expected to find was a layer of basalt, Earth's most common type of volcanic rock. What they actually discovered was something entirely different.
The hole didn't reach the basalt underlying the granite continents, but to everyone's surprise, they did reach hot, salty water flowing through crushed granite.
Special thanks to Dr. Walt Brown, who took a few minutes of his time to talk to me. It was very much an honor. I've actually owned 2 copies of his book, In the Beginning, and would highly recommend it. The thing is fantastic.